Just the US alone creates 19 million tons of food waste. And that's just the US, so the whole world is just a crazy number. You, like myself, can do your part in not creating food waste by creating good quality soil out of that food waste. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another babbling review with Jeremiah from Babble My Backyard. Today we're going to be reviewing worm composters. I do a lot of composting, as you may have seen on my channel. I recently did a review you can go check out on composting bins in the kitchen to hold your food waste for composting. That'll be up in the corner if you want to check that out though. So today we'll be reviewing these worm composting bins like this. I have this one right here. Looks like in here then I just have a seal that's going to go on this guy, and then this is going to thread into, you don't want to make those burrs off there, otherwise that seal's not going to work very great. I was hoping this was going to be a little larger in size. I am composting all of my food. I compost all of my yard debris. Because I do a lot of gardening and I want to make sure that I have good quality soil. So now let's talk about what this looks like as we go on. We have these different stages. So we just looked at putting together this bottom area down here, and now we're going to talk about why are there these different bins. So when I have a compost bin that's like these, there are benefits to this style versus just a tub. So first of all, any system where you can capture your castings from your worms is a good system. This is gold for your garden right here. The castings are high in microbes, and they definitely are helpful for growing huge healthy plants. So that's why I have this little spigot down here at the bottom. It's because all of that casting is going to drop down through, and then I'm going to capture it and use it with my watering can to water my garden. Now, why I have multiple bin layers like this, I'm going to put a bed layer down here in the bottom, and for me this is going to be I'll put some cardboard in here and some grass clippings and some previous compost that I had already had will go in this bottom layer. I want to make sure that it's a lot of organic materials that are not from the kitchen down there. It's not necessarily food, it's just going to be stuff that the worms pull the food down to. So it's more of the bed for the worms. From there, with this bin, I will put my food debris in. And I want to be careful of what food debris that I put in here. There's certain things I want to avoid putting in here. Things that the worm will have a harder time breaking down. And I can actually go through later and pick things out if I'm putting something in there that the worms are not doing well with. And then you can kind of play around with it that way to make sure that that's not happening. What I will say is that you want to completely avoid anything citrus. So don't put anything acidic in here because the worms won't do great with that. So now I have food in this layer and bedding in this layer, or just compost, natural stuff for that the worms will live in, and then they'll come up through the holes in the bottom and eat their food. The biggest benefit of having these types of bins is actually separating your worms from your compost later on. In a big giant tub or a rolling compost bin, to separate the worms out is difficult. Sometimes you take them and you can put it out on a tarp, put that compost on a tarp, and you build mounds on the tarp, and you can let those mounds sit and the worms will go down away from the surface, and then you can kind of scoop the top layers off and you don't have any worms, and then you keep doing that until you have worms left over in the bottom. It is a very big pain in the butt though to do that. So with this type of compost bin, as I want the worms to come away from the bottom bin down here, I can just add more layers of food. So as this is breaking down, we got this layer of organics already, then I have food in here, and as it breaks down, I can add another layer of organics and foods up here. And at that point, after some time of having this system running like this, the worms will come up to that top bin. I can pull this out now, and I can take this and dump my compost from this one, And now I'm just rolling through these. I may actually take this and dump this into here with some cardboard, fresh cardboard at the bottom. Again, that'll just going to help keep those worms in the actual bin. With holes in it like this, the worms will fall through or crawl out of there into the drain area down here. So a sheet of cardboard down there is going to help eliminate some of that. It's still going to happen some too. So we'll look at this, how it works. All right, first thing I got to do is get the worms down in that bottom bin. I did order these worms off of Amazon. There is a link in the description below if you're interested in getting them from there. Otherwise, you have to find a local dealer for worms. So this is the next day, just looking at what they've done already. Here's 2 days later, just showing liquid casting. So I'll add water to the rest of that can and then I'll water my plants. 3 days in now, just trying to see what they got going on. It's a very hot day today, so there's not a lot of activity on the top layer, but a lot of stuff is broken down already. So I'm going to dump the layer of food into the second layer, so I don't need 2 layers of food, I just need 1 layer of food. Broccoli did not break down and they're not going after it right now, but it will start getting softer and they'll eat it. It's just it's taking a little longer. Normally in those cases I would ferment the food first and then I would feed it to worms, or I'd ferment and then feed it to black soldier flies and then take that and feed that to worms. So this top layer is empty now. I'm not going to put anything in there for a little while. I'm going to let these lower levels break down more first. So this bottom layer now is pretty broken down. This is a week in. Obviously there's still some more work they can do and I'll let them do that. I do want to see that second layer breaking down quite a bit before I add food to the third layer. Draw these worms away from this bottom layer and then harvest this as compost. On hotter days, 95 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, I like to ice the compost bins. The worms don't do so great in that hot heat, and sometimes they can actually die on you if it gets too warm. That will help cool everything down, and you'll see a lot more activity from the worms if you put this ice on the food. Just like with all of my videos, the link for this is in the description below, so you can go check it out there. And if you do use that affiliate link or any of the other affiliate links in the description, it helps out the channel, so I appreciate that. Now these small units are meant to be used in your kitchen. That is to say that you are okay with having a worm system in your kitchen. Not everybody is, so you might want to have a spot outside, maybe in the garage or something. It will need to be in somewhat warm of an environment, but that is something that you can figure out. If you were looking to do some bigger outdoor system, I will be doing a build on how to create the same type of system for outside. Subscribe to the channel, make sure you don't miss that, because that will be coming soon. If this system works for you, great, but if you want a bigger system to do your composting in, then there are bigger systems out there, and we'll look at some of those now. On this Worm Factory 360, it is a little larger and it comes with a bunch more stuff for you, which is kind of great. The only difference is the price. You're going to pay significantly more for this unit. It's going to come with a bunch of organic materials, some coconut bedding. You'll get that stuff set up in the bottom, and then you'll get your worms in there, and then the same idea. This next layer you'll put food in and then let that break down, keep adding food to it. And as you add that last layer of food, the worms will work their way up to that food, and then you can pull the bottom bin and you can harvest your compost from here. Again, all of the time you're doing this, the castings are coming to the bottom tray, and you have the same kind of system down here to capture those castings. No matter what, this type of system, either one of these systems, is fantastic for creating a high microbe soil for your garden beds. Not only that, it's just a really good way to save on garbage. When you throw away all your food scraps, it does create a lot of waste. A huge amount of waste, actually. Well, I appreciate you watching this video. It is the first step into doing something better for the planet. Just the US alone creates 19 million tons of food waste. So, and that's just the US, so the whole world is just a crazy number. You, like myself, can do your part and and not creating food waste by creating good quality soil out of that food waste. Obviously, with that soil, then you can grow your own food and then you have less travel time. All of these things are leading to a better world that we're living in. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, especially if this isn't big enough for you and your house. I have a household of 5. This isn't just going to be something that I'll toy with, but it isn't going to be large enough for my whole family. I will create another video of the compost bins that I'm doing outside, and you can check that out if that's something that'll interest you. Thanks for checking out the video, and don't forget to check out one of these other great videos, and I'll see you in one of those videos. Thanks.